So I grew up in a very musical house. My mother's a classical pianist and incredible musician, and we had music going on all the time. And most of the music that I was exposed to and working on and practicing was classical music. And I knew some about jazz, but not a lot growing up. And it was really when I came to Charlottesville to go to UVA, I met John Dirth, Pete Spar, Mike Rosinski, and they basically flipped my world upside down. They showed me music to listen to, told me records to check out and musicians to check out, and I wanted to learn how to play the double bass. Pete showed me how to hold it, everything from, starting from scratch, and I came in playing violin, and it was really just this incredible amount of freedom and creativity and openness and personal connection that you have with the music and the other musicians playing that drew me in, and I got the bug. So the music that we're playing in this concert are all original compositions of mine, all written during the pandemic, from early on in the pandemic, March of 2020 to March and April of 2021, and kind of display a huge range of emotions and feelings that I've personally gone through and that we've all gone through living through this pandemic this time. And the musicians that I'm playing with are some of my favorite musicians, period. I actually know all of them from New York. However, we have connections outside of New York. Kofi's from Richmond, and as soon as we met in New York, we realized we knew all the same people. We came up playing with the same people. Max is from DC, and I'm from the DC area, and I used to live there, and so we knew all the same people. Jasper and I met in New York, and when I first heard Jasper, I was like, wow. And so when I was putting this together, I knew these were the musicians that I wanted to have, so I asked them, and they were all excited to join me and make this happen.
I originally started as a classical clarinet player when I was 7, and then when I got to middle school, I started playing jazz in the jazz band in middle school. So I tried the saxophone, but I already been playing clarinet for a while. So I worked out kind of a deal with my band director where he said, I heard that you're like a clarinet player. Like, why don't you like play for the class? And he kind of wanted to put me on the spot, and I was like, I'll do it if you let me try a saxophone. So I tried like this baritone saxophone, the huge one, and I was like a 6th grader. And that started everything in jazz. And then I went to an arts high school where the jazz program was super cool. We got to like travel, we got to work with like big jazz names, and I was very fortunate to have that kind of high school experience. And then that sort of set me up to go to music school, which is how I ended up in New York, which is where I've been living for the last nine years now. And yeah, that's since then, went to the New School for Jazz, and since then I've just been doing freelancing and trying to work as much as possible, even through pandemic. But yeah, so Kris and I have tons of mutual friends because it's such a small community of improvising musicians. And the first time I met him was at a session, a jam session, reading session at Manhattan School of Music while he was doing his master's there. And since then we've been playing together a bunch. Yeah.
I mean, as you know, I have an older brother, and he was a jazz pianist, and he started playing. I might have been like 7 or 8 when he started playing, and I remember at the studio he was at, there was a drum set, and I was homeschooled, so my mom would take us to like all his lessons or whatever, and we would be upstairs. And I remember one day I asked my mom, I told her I wanted to learn how to play the drums, and after the lesson he took me behind my brother's teacher, started like showing me like kind of like everything. And the next week I think I had my first lesson, and then the week after that bought my first drums. And now we're here, you know. And I mean, I've been playing jazz since I was 8. Now I'm 21, so, you know, it's crazy. It's been a big part of my life. And I mean, when I was 8, probably up until 13, jazz wasn't what I wanted to do. You know, I got sick with pneumonia, and I wasn't in school, and the drums were just right there, so I'm just like, I might just as well just like start practicing. Plus I heard a bunch of concerts, like I heard Christian McBride play with Benny Green, Lewis Nash, Chris Potter, Ambrose Akinmusire. I heard the SF Jazz Collective, like all that in the same year, and that kind of was just like, I think this is what, especially when I heard Christian McBride, I'm like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, you know, so.
it all kind of started when I was in 4th grade and saw School of Rock, the Jack Black movie, where he plays rock guitar, and the soundtrack was like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I got a bass originally because the 4th grade band I wanted to be in needed a bass player. And then my brother played guitar, and I somehow ended up just picking it up and getting really into it and taking lessons with this great teacher in the area, Chuck Underwood, who was always pushing me in the jazz direction, but plays like all styles really well. And I was really into like metal bands at the time, like Metallica and Pantera, and into that like virtuosic kind of music. And at some point I heard like Spain by Chick Corea or something, and it totally blew my mind, and I just wanted to like play jazz and play changes and learn more and more about it. So yeah, I mean, I've just kind of been playing guitar a long time and jazz a long time, but I kind of didn't get into it until like the latter part of high school, but was really deep into it.
Did you go to school?
Yeah, I went to New England Conservatory for my undergraduate, which was an amazing experience, really. Great guitar teachers, great everything teachers, amazing ensemble instructors, and it has like a really, it's the oldest music school in the country, so it has this amazingly storied classical department, and it's a small school, so there's so much overlap with all the departments, and you can study with anyone you want and take any class you want. So I studied with composition teachers, and I studied with theory instructors, and studied solfege privately, and all that stuff. And then that was in Boston. Started playing with people in Boston, getting gigs, stayed in Boston, and then moved to New York. And here we are now.